Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around the land of smiles for you today, this Monday, October 7th. Now, today we'll be talking about the ongoing scandals that are rocking Thailand's bus industry in the wake of last week's tragedy. And also, massive improvements are coming to Bangkok streets. And a little later, we'll be talking about the strange and questionable practice of pleasure marriages in Indonesia. Now, first things first, we have flash floods up in the north, and they have devastated a Thai elephant sanctuary. 2 elephants have died, and hundreds have been evacuated. Flash floods devastated the Elephant Nature Park in Chiang Mai, Thailand, killing 2 elephants and forcing the evacuation of around 100 more, alongside dozens of tourists. Dramatic footage showed elephants wading through deep water as staff urgently directed them to safety. Despite some elephants reaching higher ground, 13 remain trapped, with further evacuations necessary. The flooding, caused by Typhoon Yagi's heavy rains, has severely affected northern Thailand. Volunteers and boats are urgently needed to assist the sanctuary, which also houses 5,000 other animals. Many of the elephants are blind or injured, complicating the rescue efforts. Well, this is just sad, isn't it? Like, a place that's meant to be a sanctuary, a safe space for the elephants to be able to survive and thrive. It's very complicated because in order to move these guys, sometimes you need the use of heavy machinery. But when there's flooding and land moving, it's very difficult to get that machinery in there. And then how do you guide a blind elephant even? That's even more difficult. So hopefully these volunteers get all of the support that they need to move them out. This story broke a couple of days ago, so I think since then there hasn't really been updates about the status of them, but I'll try to keep you posted because Thailand, obviously, an important national symbol for, or elephants are an important national symbol for the country. And it'd be nice to see all of them living a happy and thriving life and not having to deal with this unfortunate weather event that's happening in the north. All right, Elliot says, R.I.P. to the elephant victims of the floods. Yeah, there's plenty of human victims as well. Also, I'll mention right now, if you guys feel like contributing to some of these efforts, Bangkok Community Help is doing lots to help the people up there. You can also look up the sanctuary itself and directly donate to that sanctuary. I believe, I said the name earlier, I've forgotten the name now. I'll try to get that name, put it in there for you guys so that you can help contribute to their efforts as well. Yes, Teddy Bear suggests elephant sanctuaries must be closer to rivers. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the solution is here, but might be a good idea. All right, next story, another tough one. We're talking about the massive tragedy that rocked the nation last week, the bus tragedy that unfortunately killed more than 20 students and teachers in a fire accident. Now, a corruption scandal has rocked Thailand's bus inspection process. So that's right, corruption has rocked Thailand's bus industry as anonymous companies revealed that bribes of 3,000 to 4,000 baht were being paid to expedite vehicle inspections by the Land Transport Department. This unethical practice came to light following a tragic bus fire that killed 23 people, children and teachers, where illegally installed gas tanks were found on the vehicle. Investigations showed other buses had more gas tanks than approved, raising concerns about inspection integrity. Some bus companies admitted to paying bribes due to long inspection wait times, while officials have yet to address these claims. So a little bit of a he said, she said going on, but it's certainly something that, we've seen it before, right? It's happened. I even have a little personal anecdote about this. My mother has a car rental agency in America, like where in the Virgin Islands, right? So the bureaucracy moves slow. Slipping a little 20 here and there actually speeds up these processes. And, that's the thing, though. Like, are the companies taking the inspection regulations seriously, right? Are they living up to the standards that the government is supposed to be putting in place for them and then just paying a little bribe to get things moving along more quickly? Or are they completely ignoring the regulations like it appears to have been in this case, allegedly, while more gas tanks were put onto these buses? without the actual inspection occurring. So it seems like there's fault on both sides here. The inspectors themselves for expediting the process and not actually doing the inspection, and also the bus for skating the rules, right? So the incentives here, having more of these gas tanks means we can go on longer rides, right? We don't need to stop as often. That means we can get more of these rides done more quickly. So, yeah, unacceptable. So we have to wait and see exactly who is to blame, how justice will be meted out, and how we'll fix this. Because certainly the families of these victims want answers, and so does the public at large. All right. Yes. So Mojo says this was in the news here. Yeah, this was big international headlines for sure. Unfortunately, we were all feeling good about Muding, and then right after Muding storms international headlines, we have this unfortunate tragedy. Damien Jesser says, hate to say it, but not uncommon, not just buses, it's most things. It's a big issue in pretty much all of East Asia outside of like Japan. Like, I think Taiwan and South Korea have a slightly better reputation in this regard, but certainly Southeast Asia, all over the place, you have to deal with, low-level corruption on like even down to, a quick, like if anybody's been stopped by the police in Phuket riding around on scooters, right, it doesn't really matter. I've been stopped many times, and it's like, okay, I have my helmet now, I have my license now. They'll find something wrong, and you just need to pay your 500 baht to get through. So, yeah, allegedly, allegations. But this has been my own personal experience, so I'm sure plenty of you have similar stories, which some people don't mind, right? Some people don't mind to be able to move past things, get past the red tape a little more quickly than you would be able to in other countries. But in this case, it led to a massive tragedy, which is the other side of the coin, right? Where we need to consider exactly what the consequences will be of taking these shortcuts. Tough stuff. Mojo says the bus owner is at fault, but the driver is ultimately at fault for not knowing the state of his vehicle. Also true. I mean, I think even if you knew the state, right? Like all it took was this quick accident, and it lit up like a firework. So, yeah, he might have been pressured by his company to ignore that and say, hey, it's okay, everything's fine, you'll be fine. One little accident, right, is all it takes for such a tragedy to happen. If this was a plane, you blame the pilot. I don't know, though, Mojo. There's also a lot of inspections. It depends on the inspection process, too. So I don't want to jump to too many conclusions. But, yes, the man has been charged with many crimes already. So it does appear he does share some of the responsibility. How much the bus owners will be facing as well has yet to be determined. So this case is still ongoing. Elliot says road safety in the country is among the worst in the world. Yeah, big. I read a statistic the other day. I think in the past 10 years or something like that, 26,000 like children have died in road accidents. I've seen it plenty of times. Kids on the roads not wearing helmets. So tough stuff. All right. So, Fat Vinny says, one last point I'll say, if the boss tells you to take an unsafe vehicle down the road and you do it, it's on the driver. Fair enough, yeah. I mean, what happens if you refuse, though? Lose your job, too. That's a tough position for any worker to be put in that's surviving on sort of a paycheck-to-paycheck basis. Trying to have a little empathy, but it's hard when so much tragedy has occurred in one single incident. All right, let's move on. Got more tough news, unfortunately, but I got to warn you guys that you be safe while you're traveling around Thailand. Thailand has warned against uncooked pork as Streptococcus suis deaths rise. So the Department of Disease Control, or DDC, has warned the public to avoid consuming uncooked pork after 12 deaths were linked to Streptococcus suis infections in northeastern Thailand. Between January and September, 149 cases of hearing loss caused by the bacterium were reported, with the highest number in Nakhon Ratchasima. Elderly individuals are most affected, and the bacterium is contracted through contact with raw pork, pig's blood, or contaminated surfaces. The DDC advises buying pork from reliable sources and cooking it thoroughly, while also avoiding direct contact with raw pork and covering open wounds. That's scary. I didn't know it could make you deaf. Did you? That was a tough one, man. But yeah, gotta be careful. This is something that, like, you know, there are all sorts of delicacy, local things, using pig's blood, undercooked pork, that kind of thing. If you're going to be doing that, you got to make sure it's from a seriously hygienic vendor, right? Like, where they take that very seriously. I've done like some interesting fine dining experiences here in Thailand with some, you know, stuff that I would question it, right? Like, I've done the puffer fish thing in Japan. If that is handled wrong in any kind of way, you are poisoned and you die. So, you know, that's the kind of thing where you want to be spending a little bit money more for in order to make sure that it's safe. Seeing about 150 cases break out just this year is your fair warning. Make sure that either the pork is cooked thoroughly all the way, or if you were indulging in one of those, you know, riskier pork dishes where it comes undercooked, or even like in a sashimi kind of style, make sure that it's coming from a trusted vendor that takes the hygiene of this meat product seriously. Yeah, because the worst can happen. Be careful, everybody. All right. Let's keep. Yeah, Damien Jester asks, who eats raw pig meat? It's a thing sometimes. They do it sometimes, but that's the thing. You can't just be getting it from the normal wet market, right? I mean, we're in a post-pandemic world, everybody. We got to take this stuff a little more seriously. Fortunately, this isn't like highly contagious bacteriums, but it is highly deadly. So it can lead to deafness or even death. So here's your warning, everybody. Be careful when you're consuming that stuff. Make sure it's cooked all the way. I would recommend. All right, moving on to our next story. This was an interesting one of a little bit of intrigue, kind of raises more questions than answers. But an abandoned baby was found on Jomtien Beach. It was rescued by a local Good Samaritan. So a baby, estimated to be 3 to 4 months old, was found abandoned on Jomtien Beach, covered in sand. Discovered by a local, Malini, the baby was taken to safety, and the authorities were alerted. Pattaya city officials, including Councilman Suchart, responded and coordinated with rescue workers to transport the infant to Banglamung Hospital. The baby is now under medical care, and officials are investigating to locate the parents and understand the abandonment. Mayor Poramis has ensured that the child will receive proper protection and care. Ew. Look, this is a problem, man. There's not enough sexual education that happens in the East in general. In Thailand, I'll say specifically. Here in Thailand, of course, abortion is not legal. One of the things that they do to combat issues like this is that they make birth control widely available and pretty inexpensive. However, once you're pregnant, you're pregnant. There are no options for you, and you have to carry that child to term. Unfortunately, in this case, this parent could not handle the responsibility, left this child to die. Okay, that is obviously unacceptable. So hopefully the authorities are able to track down and punish the parents in this case, because there are options, right? There are, like, you can give the baby up for adoption. Yeah, absolutely. Or, like, you know, drop it off at the fire station, right? That's a classic move. Leaving it on the beach for the elements, and God only knows what could happen out there. Fortunately, someone was able to find this child and bring it to safety. But I would appreciate getting to the bottom of this in order to encourage other parents thinking of similar drastic measures to reconsider the safety of their own baby. I don't know. It's so weird to me to see parents go against the whole natural instinct of protectiveness and care for a child. At the same time, new parents, classically some of the most stressed people in the world. So what's your take on it, guys? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Ew, Damien Jesser. I just saw your last comment. Gross. Yeah, let me get into this a little bit later. Mojo saying about the last story, sashimi style chicken. I've had that plenty of times. No salmonella for me. That is, yeah, it's pretty gross, but anyways, it's not really up to my taste. But the point is, it can happen if people are taking care of the meat leading into the, you know, the presentation, the preparation, and ultimately going down your gullet. It can be done, but usually you're not getting those kinds of dishes in a safe environment if you're paying 40 baht for them or whatever these people were paying for. Be careful. Oh, Aussie Stew, finally with a time change. I can watch live from Melbourne. Beautiful. Nice. All right, good. Do we do time change here? I don't think we do in Thailand. There's no time changes here, right? It's just Australia. You guys are like America, still keeping with daylight savings time. Not sure how I feel about that. Kind of like just staying year round. All right, moving on. Let's see. I got some fun stories about Thailand. Now, Thailand is on track to lead ASEAN countries in becoming a cashless society by just 2028. It's around the corner. Thailand is rapidly moving toward becoming a cashless society, with a recent visa survey predicting a full transition by 2028, ahead of the broader ASEAN timeline. The adoption of digital payments has surged, driven by platforms like Prompt Pay and widespread smartphone use, with 97% of Thais using mobile banking apps weekly. While the shift to cashless transactions has boosted digital interactions, it has also led to a decline in Visa's debit card operations. Visa plans to introduce new technologies like Click to Pay to address these challenges while maintaining card security. I don't know. I use Prompt Pay pretty much every day. But for those more concerned about privacy, you might be concerned that now every transaction will be tracked and monitored. So, this is weird. But also with the person-to-person transactions, there's so many, that's easy to just transfer money to a friend who paid for dinner, blah, blah, blah. That's convenience. So I'm not sure we'll ever, what does it mean to be a cashless society? Are we just going to get rid of the bills altogether? I don't even know. It's a scary, brave new world. But, your thoughts, guys. Are you using Prompt Pay? Are you using the other cashless options? Now even 7-Eleven is on board. You can just do your QR codes and be convenient there. But are you looking forward to this? Or is this a dystopian nightmare that we're heading into? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Mojo says, good luck not using only cash at bars in Pattaya and Phuket. Yeah, this is the weird thing. I think as long as there are tourists coming here, that's the big issue, right? Because right now it's all about if you have a bank account, you can use all of these cashless payments. If you don't, you're kind of SOL. So, yeah, I think we're still a few years out, especially with tourism being such an important aspect of things here, unless they make an easy and convenient way for tourists to get onto that payment method. At the same time, you can use Apple Pay. I tap my watch at restaurants all the time. So there are still plenty of credit card options that are available in Thailand. I don't know. Time will tell. But it is certainly a major aspect of the financial culture here in the Land of Smiles. QZTube says, cashless is the way of the future. Damien Jasser says, no cash is king. I'm happy with it too. I do appreciate being able to walk out with only my phone and my keys. And I don't need anything else. I've left my wallet behind. So I'm down with the convenience. Okay, Fat Vinny, what's this joke? If a diabetic buys a chocolate bar which can be tracked, can that person be denied health care? Fascinating question. I think that is an interesting point. And also, the other question is, should they or should they not be denied that health care because they are making bad decisions for their health? It's another weird thing, though. We allow people to smoke. We allow them to drink. It's bad for your health. Overly salty foods. Where are my any Demolition Man fans in the house? Be well. Okay, salt is illegal in the future because it's bad for you. Yeah, scary stuff. I guess we'll all have to see what the future looks like soon. But I don't know. I feel like we're becoming more libertarian in a way going forward. We're legalizing all sorts of substances, not making them illegal. We'll see. More miracle cures, please. Give me a pill for my diabetes. I'll take that. It's cured. All right. And Damien says, drug dealers now need an F-Pus machine. Don't they all? They're probably already on that, Damien. Who knows? All right, moving on. More good news coming out of Bangkok. Bangkok's governor has announced major street overhauls to tackle many urban issues. That's right, Bangkok's Governor Chut is spearheading a major revamp of the city's streets to tackle ongoing urban challenges. Key issues include poorly maintained roads due to water pipe installations, outdated green light poles causing pedestrian hazards, and traffic bottlenecks at places like Sukhumvit Soi 23. familiar around us in this office. Plans include refurbishing light poles and securing underground wiring to prevent theft and malfunctions. Chad also aims to widen roads and improve pedestrian pathways by removing obstructions while enforcing stricter rules against illegal parking to ease congestion and improve safety. Well, I always say with these stories, I'll believe it when I see it, and I have seen it in the past week or so. There have been tons of infrastructure projects. We're right along Asok Road, which is like, if you know anything about Asok Road, it is, I would argue, it is the worst traffic in all of Bangkok, is right here, right next to where we are. And I saw all sorts of road work being done over the weekend. So that's good news. I don't know how much better it can really improve, though, with just the congestion of the buildings really around here. The buildings are really tight and close together. So the roads are already taking up as much space as possible. The walkways, along the main roads are decent, but as soon as you step off of the main roads, you're walking down the smaller sois. You are you're walking a tightrope on those walkways. They're very, very small. So we'll see. I think time will tell if Chad is up to the task, if the bureaucracy is up to the task, but at least they're trying, because Lord knows, I think that is one complaint we all share. If you live in Bangkok, something has got to be done. We'll see. Let's see. Elliot says, understandable that some parts of the roads in Bangkok are bumpy. Ain't that the truth? One of the problems, too, is there's a lot of greenery in Bangkok, so the trees grow, so do the roots, and end up creating bumps, which are hazards in the roadways. What's Sing in My Car saying over here? Okay, let me say. Wazo the Frog talking about the last story. Integrity Legal in Thailand is very outspoken against digital type money. It leads to totalitarianism. There's an argument there, that's for sure. A lot of everything can be tracked, everything can be monitored. The counterpoint, if you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to hide, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm kind of with you. I do like privacy. Hopefully, there will be privacy laws that come with all of this transition to digital currencies that allow, okay, you need a warrant to go to the bank to see what these transactions are, that kind of thing. There should be some kind of legal protections involved. The government shouldn't be able to just have that information on a moment's notice anytime they want. My opinion, but yeah, I don't know, man. Wazo, I feel like you can either swim against the current and drown or ride the wave. Like, what are we gonna do? Live off the grid? It's tough times, but you're important. Your opinion does matter to me. Fat Vinny says, there are people who have zero self-control who are interested in controlling everything us minions do. Ain't that the truth? The battle for our souls is alive and well. If anybody's following the alien news, I don't know who's going to win. Time will tell. And I Sing in My Car says, pro tip, if a girl in a hot bikini DMs you about crypto coin, ignore them. Fair play. I don't know. Then I would have nobody to talk to. All right. Now, moving on, we're transitioning now from our Thailand to our ASEAN stories. And actually, this one touches a bit of both sides. It's an international story, and an unfortunate one that involves the deaths of some Thai workers. Now, Thai workers have died from toxic gas in a South Korean greenhouse. So, two Thai workers, a 60-year-old man and a 50-year-old woman, tragically died from carbon monoxide poisoning in a South Korean greenhouse after lighting a fire to stay warm. The incident occurred in Pyeongchang, Gangwon province, during the scallion harvest season, which is very popular and important up there. The workers, who were staying in the greenhouse due to cramped accommodation, used a picnic stove and open gas canister, leading to their suffocation. South Korean authorities are investigating their illegal employment status and plan to conduct autopsies to confirm the cause of death. So this raises a few interesting issues. So many Thai people who have gotten to the border of South Korea have faced weird and strange questioning about why they are entering the country and have been refused entrance. So this is something that has reared its ugly head for influencers who have been denied. And yet here's the other side of the coin, right? Some people are getting through, working illegally, working in, unsafe environments, and then in this case, unfortunately, causing their own deaths by lighting a fire within a greenhouse because, it's a greenhouse. The whole point is the greenhouse gases stay in there, and they suffocated themselves. So it's a tragic story, an accident, but they didn't know any better, and their accommodation was not up to par. They were freezing, right? They were cramped. That's what led them to take this measure. And you can understand why the South Korean authorities are a little more wary of letting countries like Thailand in, which is where many of the illegal workers in South Korea come from. So, not sure what to do. In my opinion, I feel like the people that should be to blame are the businesses that are hiring these illegal workers, right? And keeping them in unsafe environments in order to, guess what? Save a buck. Again, we have money being the root of all evil, as it is in this case too. Elliot says, "Oh my God, the greenhouse tragedy. That's a terrifying way to go." But it's almost like it's sad. Obviously, it's very sad. But that is one of the less painful ways to go. You kind of just sort of slip off to sleep, which is a silver lining to a tragic story. But at the same time, this is endemic of a much larger problem that is happening. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Make it easier for migrant workers. Could also be an option too, if it is an important season for harvest. Make it easier for people to get the proper visas and registration in order to come do it. We'll see. All right, another weird story for you guys. Strange. I'm not sure how to feel about this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. But Indonesian women appear to be trapped in quote-unquote pleasure marriages with tourists for money. Now, in Indonesia, impoverished young women are entering into short-term pleasure marriages with male tourists, primarily from the Middle East, in exchange for money. This practice, prevalent in Puncak, involves agencies arranging temporary marriages where women provide sexual and domestic services. After the tourist leaves, the marriage is dissolved. Women like Kahaya, who have been married multiple times, earn small amounts despite high bride prices due to agent cuts. Critics argue these marriages, rooted in Shia Islam, but condemned by most scholars, exploit vulnerable women, fueling sex tourism and perpetuating abuse. I don't know. This is a weird thing. Like, this is sex work by another name, right? So, Shia law, Sharia law, I assume probably there's some Shia and Shiite tourists abusing this system. Indonesia has a massive Muslim population, and this is their workaround, right? We got a loophole going on. So yeah, you're married, yay, and then you can get divorced, although I'm sure that's not kosher either. Sorry. Haram. There it is. But I don't know how to feel about this. This is, again, where we have these sort of medieval notions of morality that are sort of like still present and dominant in modern times, and unfortunately in this segment of the population that is a massive population around the world. So it does seem like there is a hunger to consume these services, while there's still like this desire to, cleanse your conscience and not have a guilty conscience about it. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. It does seem like these women are stuck in a cycle of abuse as agents are taking the money that really should be going directly to them, pimping them out. A weird story. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Mojo said, "Why did Thai women not copyright this?" Thai women are more above board. Like, if we're talking about the sex work in Thailand, which is now being debated about legalizing completely here in Thailand, actually spearheaded by the Pheu Thai Party and Petotan Shinawat. This is certainly not the same system that we're dealing with in Indonesia, which has very strict rules regarding sex work over there. And this whole system is not legal, and it's definitely not condoned by the leading scholars of Islam as well. At the same time, it is entirely an Islamic practice. So it's definitely the consumers, the exploiters, all do seem to be coming from that demographic. Weird one. This is something that when I say we're trending towards more libertarian societies, at least in terms of what we allow in behavior, that is not true everywhere, apparently. But here in Thailand, I think we can be proud of spearheading many of these efforts. Teddy Bear says, "Holiday girlfriends, it happens everywhere." Yeah, but in this one, it's like, the girls aren't really getting most of the money. They're just sort of stuck in their positions. And now that if anybody knows that they are in this position, they'll never be able to find a proper marriage. Yeah, I don't know. It's a sticky one. No pun intended. Moving on, we got our another story. Actually, we're talking about Indonesia as well as other ASEAN nations, because we're talking about Myanmar here. Now, Indonesia is hosting international talks on the Myanmar crisis with the UN and ASEAN as well. So Indonesia is hosting an international meeting involving the United Nations, ASEAN, the European Union, and Myanmar's shadow government, the National Unity Government, or NUG, to address the ongoing civil war in Myanmar, sparked by a 2021 military coup. The meeting aims to explore solutions as ASEAN's peace plan has made little progress. Myanmar's military government has refused to engage with its opponents, dismissing them as terrorists. With an election planned for next year, many view it as a sham, and anti-junta groups have rejected participation. The meeting's details remain confidential, and no official comments have yet been made. That's some weird jumping over there. But yeah, this is still something that, I call this the forgotten war. With all of the West's attention on what's going on in Ukraine and, of course, in the Middle East, this is something that has sort of been put by the wayside. And it's been going on longer than both of those other two conflicts. Very deadly. And no end in sight. So ASEAN has been the diplomatic channel that they've been trying to create a ceasefire through. That has not been working. So now bigger parties are coming to play. United Nations, European Union, trying to flex their muscles and bring an end to this. But we'll see. I really don't see any end in sight. And as long as the junta, which did do a coup, right? Like that's what started all of this. If they are dismissing the opposition as pure terrorists the entire time, you're never going to be able to get to a negotiating table. Yeah, sounds familiar, doesn't it? Hopefully, the international pressure will be able to bring this to an end sooner rather than later. All right. Now, moving on to our last story today, we got a bit of Formula One scandal going on, at least in Singapore. So a Singapore billionaire charged in a high-profile government corruption case. He was famous for bringing F1 to the country. So a Singapore court has charged property billionaire Ong Beng Sang with obstructing justice and abetting offenses in connection with disgraced ex-transport minister Iswaran's graft case. Ong, the 78-year-old owner of Hotel Properties Limited and rights holder for the Singapore Grand Prix, is accused of giving Iswaran high-value gifts, including luxury trips and event tickets. Iswaran, jailed for 12 months, became the first former cabinet member imprisoned in Singapore for corruption. Ong did not enter a plea, and his court hearing is adjourned to November 15th. This case has garnered significant attention in the city-state, known for its clean governance. Yeah, there's some crackdowns going, baby. It seems like there was a bit of corruption, giving gifts, right, and event tickets for Formula One, the Grand Prix that happens in Singapore. 12 months in jail, that's more than we usually see for corruption in my home country. So that's kind of good news. We'll see. We're still waiting for the case to be brought, details about this case to be brought forward. November 15th, 78 years old. It's a tough time to start getting in trouble that late in life. But it is interesting to see Singapore cleaning house a little bit and what this looks like in the future for the government. Now, that's it for the news from around Thailand and the greater ASEAN region. You can always go to thetiger.com for more news updates throughout the day. We keep it posted with like 50, 60 articles going. Our content writers are constantly pumping stuff. You only see a fraction of the news here on this show. But thank you for joining us here live every day. Go to Instagram or TikTok and subscribe over there. You'll see a lot of extra little content. We do little funny videos and things like that you don't see here on YouTube as well. And finally, head over to ASEANnow.com where you can join the conversation and keep it going. It's the largest expat forum in Thailand. And yeah, a lot of good smack talkers over there. But yeah, also that's the Thaiger Official on Instagram and TikTok, so check it out. Now, let me get into the comments before we head out of here.